right. So when this show first started, I was immediately hooked. Frame one, as soon as the show started, I was there. This show is phenomenal. First of all, can you tell me a little bit about Betty Wendell and what attracted you to the role of Betty?
Yeah, Betty Wendell plays a woman who lives in the Compton neighborhood that the Emorys move into, and who will do anything to stop this first Black family from moving into her neighborhood. And what attracted me to, it was sort of, my attraction was to the project first, because I thought it was such an effective, fascinating combination and way of exploring something in a new way, of combining this real world terror and grounding it in this real world terror, and then having these supernatural horror elements actually ground the psychological elements even more, like having those two pieces, the real world outside, the fractures inside the mind, in conversation with one another to really explore how it feels to be terrorized.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I know that the show is framed almost as a horror show, but you're right. Hit it right on the head. There's definitely a lot more terror that this family endures than anything else. Now, Betty is definitely the ringleader of this community here. Can you talk to me about what lengths she's going to go to try to get them out of Compton?
I mean, I think LM looks at the role of white women in this racist context, in this white supremacist context, in a really important way, which is there's a world in which she could be a man, in which this villain could be a man and operate on a very different level. And what Betty will go to any lengths as a woman. She will incite violence on her behalf, and she will manipulate and smile and be polite. But the limitations of her role sort of prevent and allow a lot of different things. So it's like she goes about her violence in a very different way than a man would, and that a man eventually does.
Right. And speaking of that, I actually want to talk about, because one fascinating relationship I find is between Betty and Clark, played by Leah McIntyre. Can you talk to me about their relationship?
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked a lot about this relationship because it feels really important. And I think over the course of this show becomes clearer as to where they're both coming from. But it is how we carve out places of safety and protection in a world that feels unsafe, that may be they may not be good relationships, but they feel comforting in their state in different important ways enough that we hang on to them, despite the fact that
Absolutely. Now, Little Marvin wrote this show. He's brilliant. Can you talk to me about the collaboration process and working with him and how he helped inform the character of Betty Wendell to you?
Yeah, I mean, he created her, and when he told me her storyline and I understood, some of her backstory and what was motivating her, it gave me all the things I needed to work with. And it also felt important to explore these ways that these different ways that white women do violence while maintaining their own victimhood, and so to have an opportunity to look at that while at the same time being given this really full character who is unlikable to the core and a terrible human, but is full and is not, it's not a reductive storytelling around her character, which I felt was really, really important.
Yeah, I mean, I just finished episode 4, so I'm very curious to see what happens with Betty and her family now. It's an amazing show. I can't, thank you guys enough for letting me talk about it, but amazing job. Thank you so much, Alison.